up, my Star Wars family? Hope you're having a great day. You are watching George Reviews. I am the 80s Transformers fan, and today I have another versus battle for you guys. Luke Skywalker versus Luke Skywalker, essentially in Jedi gear. All right, we have on our left Return of the Jedi retro card from Hasbro, Star Wars The Black Series, Luke Skywalker. And on our left, we have Star Wars The Black Series, The Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker. This was the first representation of Luke shortly after the end of Return of the Jedi in live action. And this just blew the internet up. It blew everybody away, got everybody excited after the failed version of Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogies. But this was the return to glory for Luke Skywalker. And today I'm going to put these two figures head to head. And before I get started, I want to talk about the Rancor Luke. And just crowdfunding in general, real quick. I'm not going to go too deep, but basically the crowdfunding thing, scams that they pull off is so terrible. People fall for it. You think you're getting a free figure, but what you do is you pay for tooling for future figures, no matter what it is. Like when they do Galactus or Sentinel, whatever, when they throw in free figures, it's just tooling that you're paying for now for figures down the road, and they're able to use it again. Not saying these guys, we're going to see how similar these two are, but there was a Luke that was supposed to came with the Rancor and it got canceled. Since then, we've gotten 3 Lukes. This is 2 of them, and we have the, I think it was the Boba Fett Luke where he's training Grogu. So it's a lot of Luke Skywalker parts that we have gotten since then. And they were basically going to use our money to fund future figures. And now we have, like I say, in one summer, they dropped 3 Lukes. I got these guys. Got him beginning of the summer. Got him at the end of the summer. So this is my versus battle. Again, on the left, we have the retro carded Luke, the scene from Return of the Jedi where he pulled the blaster on Jabba the Hutt at Jabba's palace. It's decked out in a vintage card back photo scene back here. We have Kenner down here, the top Star Wars Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight right there. Flipping it over, we have the other figures in the wave on the back of the box. Here is the pricing that it was at my local GameStop. I used my $5 off. Got it for 21 bucks. And here is Luke. He's not wearing the Jedi robe or hood or anything, but he has the outfit he had on in that movie. Comes with one accessory, the green lightsaber. And very much love this packaging. And over here we have the Mandalorian package. This is when it's still windowless. They just recently went back to the window packaging, which they really need, because a lot of people open up these boxes and were in for a terrible shock with swapped out figures. But you see the image of the toy that's supposed to be within the packaging. On the side of the box is some artwork for Luke. But the back of the box right here, we have a little brief bio for Luke right here, if you want to pause and check that out. Another image of the toy within. I'm pretty sure this is much better than toy within. He is designated as number 30 in this Mandalorian line. Luke on the side of the box again shows the scale of the figure right there. Everything he comes with. So we're going to get these guys open and take a look. I'm going to try to preserve the packaging for this one. Slice it at the bottom. Now I try to create a flap, and hopefully I can slide Luke out. Here is Luke. Luke's lightsaber is held in with a little bit of tape. I like the coloring on that. Looks pretty good. Nice painted hilt. And Luke, he actually has a tie down on him. If I can get to it. This is the tie down is to hold the chest piece on. He has an interchangeable chest plate so you can change the look. It's pretty cool, but how necessary was it actually? Get this off. Hopefully this thing doesn't just fall off. Oh, it's on there securely. This figure feels so light, and he's so slim compared to other Black Series figures I've handled. This is like a newer style body. And now for the Mando Luke. And we have the environmentally friendly packaging with same instructions right there. Got the mummified Luke. Alright, calm down, Luke. I got you. It has Star Wars printing on the paper. I mean, they did not have to do that. They could have saved me like $3 or something. And here is our Luke. He has a completely different looking head, but we'll check that out. And he has the robe, which he should. I mean, shouldn't the robe be a little bit brown tinted or whatever? Let's see if we can get him stand up over here. And two totally different looks. And his lightsaber. Ah, yes, the Jedi's weapon. They look the same. Are they the same? Yes, they are the same. Same blade. So, let's get this stuff out of the way. This concludes the unboxing portion of the video. Alright, let's bring our Lukes closer. I would bring one at a time. Let's get them both over here. And let's take a look at their heads. And they look very similar. Note the hair on each head is different. But that could be the same face underneath, just with different paint on it. Am I getting a good look at it? No, those are two different heads. The biggest complaint about Star Wars, the Black Series, by hardcore vintage fans, they complained that they never got Luke's head right on any of the figures. And when it comes from hardcore vintage Star Wars fans, like when I say vintage, I don't mean the modern vintage. I mean the vintage from the 70s and early 80s. When those guys complain about toy sculpting, it's just like, please shut up. If you collect the vintage line, you should never complain about any sculpting on the Black Series line, because these guys are leaps and bounds. And trust me, I know I had every single vintage figure there was that you could buy at standard retail. And those figures were awful. They were just awesome with the scaling and the vehicles and the universe you can build. But these guys look pretty good. I already got a feeling of which one I like the best. Definitely the head sculpt I like the best. So we're probably going to have to get this robe off to take a real good look. I hate to take it off this early in the review. Oh, it just pulls over his head. Thank goodness. And this is supposed to be the exact same outfit he just has on the Jedi tunic over the outfit. And the arms appear to be the same. Check out the pants. What it look like from the boots, the legs down. It's the exact same Luke. Exact same hands on both hands. The skin tones match the hands, and this one just looks like he has a little bit of a wash over his face, and this one doesn't. All right, now I want to get these guys next to the live action representation of Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, going to start with Return of the Jedi. The overall shape of the head is correct, but like the eyes and the distance between the nose, I don't know about that. And they just didn't get like the texture of his skin right to me on the Return of the Jedi version. And coming over here to the Mandalorian version, it's supposed to look like the CGI, the de-aged Mark Hamill. Alright, for one, this picture is not that great, but then again, the de-aged CGI was not that great, and the figure looks a little bit better than the CGI. It looks a little bit better than Mark Hamill at that stage in his life as well. He actually looks younger than the older Return of the Jedi version. But definitely you can see that they tried to go with the CGI look, because his face is a lot smoother than the Return of the Jedi Black Series toy. Other than the tunic and the interchangeable chest, and of course the head, same body. But because of the tunic, I'm just going to have to do articulation on both. Let's start with Return of the Jedi Luke. Okay, starting with Luke's head. Because it's on a ball joint, you can get some expressions out of it without actually turning the head completely. It moves around and around on that ball joint. Do a full 360. Luke can look up this far. He can look down this far. And then because the collar piece is separate, you can move the neck and collar to get him look down even more. And furthermore, the collar will rotate on its own separate from the head, which is a nice touch. It will probably most likely do a full 360, but I'm not going to spin it all the way around. And it is the same on both figures. His arms come up this far before they hit his shoulders. He has some butterfly joints in there. Wow. 360. Let's see that butterfly. How far? Not a lot in there, but it does come in. Hopefully we get some good two-handed poses. Again, 360s. And I don't know, they just wanted to keep the aesthetic of the sleeve looking good, but there's no bicep swivel. I'm sure it swivels at the elbow. It kind of breaks up a little bit weird. And let's see how much of a bend we get out of it. Okay, we get a lot out of it, and this is a new elbow joint for me. You know, I have a lot of Star Wars figures, but I haven't opened a lot up, but that's new to me. 360 on that wrist. He has an up and down top wrist hinge. Nice molded in fingers right there. coming down to his waist. And this is probably going to be odd because of the interchangeable chest piece. But he has no midsection articulation, only down here at the waist. Rotation out of here. Full 360. Trying to keep that body look intact, which I don't know. We can pull off a lot of those flips and Jedi poses. He can go back that far and forward that far right there. And as far as the splits, front and back, that's pretty good. But he has a upper thigh swivel. Now check this out right here. Luke swivels at the knee. Then he bends and articulates at that knee. And just below that at the boot cut, he swivels at the boot cut and the knee. And sometimes it drifts separately and then you got to get it lined up. That's a little weird to have an articulation at the knee and at the shin on the same figure. No human being swivels at the knee, let alone at the shin right here. It just doesn't happen in human anatomy. Nice detail in his boots, nice wrinkles right there from the back to the front. And there's detailing, there's molded in detail on the leather of the shoe, assuming that's leather, to the front and rocking side to side. So for me, I think the problem is going to be lack of a midsection articulation. I believe because they're trying to keep the aesthetic. It's going to be a little bit of a problem. We're going to have to see how those arms work out with two hands on the lightsaber later on in the review. So we're going to go with this guy because he's wearing tunic. Again, I think this is similar, very similar body, chest underneath. Rest of the figure is the same. Just a little bit less up because of the little tunic. 360 is that shoulder, exact same elbow bend right there. Same wrist hinge. I didn't even check to see if it's the same on the other hand as well. Yep, same up top wrist hinge on both hands and nothing at his midsection under here. And because of the tunic, oh no, not that much forward, but to the back. Let's check his forward again. Yeah, definitely more forward over here because of the rubber or the tunic or soft rubber like plastic. Get the 360 out of it, and the legs are going to be hindered again because of the tunic. Yeah, very hindered. A little bit more side to side. And the rest of the articulation is the same leg, same thing. So the tunic does hinder this guy, which was probably obvious before I did it, but just had to show you. Now the feature for this Luke is the interchangeable breastplate. And I mean, shirt. That's like he was wearing armor. The interchangeable shirt. I'm assuming I just pull on it. Yeah, it came off a little too easy. And you can switch it out for this one. And now it looks like he just took this part off and now he's wearing this, except for the differences in the head. This is supposed to be the same belt and everything going on right here. Now this guy's feature, he comes with the hood, which we have to have. We really need this for our Jedi Luke. Anybody that love Luke, Return of the Jedi was my favorite Star Wars movie, and don't kill me in the comments. A lot of people hated the Ewoks or whatever. I loved it. I mean, I got it on his head. It's actually sewed down on the side so it can fit better, and in the back so it can maintain this cone shape like when he was coming down the hallway and just killing those droids, those death troopers or whatever they were. But he kind of has the collar in his face. It's definitely going to take, if you take it off, you're going to have to play around with it to get it to look right. Let me tuck that in there, and there's this hood. And now you will take me to Jabba now. I know it's a Mandalorian, but it's Return of the Jedi for me all day. And if you're watching this, he's probably just your Return of the Jedi Luke as well. Alright, the last thing are the lightsabers, the only accessories that these guys come with, unless you count the robe on the Mandalorian Luke. And when I first put it out of the box, the blades looked identical, but the Mandalorian Luke blade is a little bit darker green. And I don't know if that's done on purpose. It could be just like the batch of plastic mixture, and it could be across the board. You probably could buy 2 or 3 of these guys and get 2 different colors or whatever. And the hilts are exactly the same. It's the exact same mold, exact same paint job, which I'm happy they did that. I'm happy it's not a larger one or 2 different ones, because it should be consistent across the board. And they both detach. Just going to detach one, and you can hang it on this belt right here. And well, you know what? You take this one and hang it on his belt. See how well it hangs. I mean, it's not much of a little belt clip. It's just enough to get it in there. And if you move it too much, it's going to fall off. But it looks cool. And it looks very well proportionate. A lot of times they make these lightsabers bigger so they can get the detail in there. And so they can make sure they hold in the hands. But these guys have a very, very tight grip. I'm going to go in with the neck piece between the fingers. And these guys have some hard plastic fingers. Especially on this gloved hand. This black plastic. Get it right there. Bring the blade back. And here is Luke ignited and ready for battle. I think the green is the best color as far as the action figures go. Because it looks bright, kind of looks like it's glowing. I know the red just looks like a piece of candy. Jolly Rancher or something. But the green looks pretty good. Now it's time to give our Luke Skywalkers the size up and a rundown. Here we have Transformers Earthrise Optimus Prime. And Marvel Legends No Way Home Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. G.I. Joe Classified Tomax and Zaymot. Star Wars The Black Series C-3PO and R2-D2. Also from Star Wars The Black Series is Dark Lord of the Sith Darth Vader. And from The Mandalorian, The Dark Trooper. And lastly, I wasn't going to pull it out, but here is Star Wars The Black Series Book of Boba Fett Luke Skywalker that came with Grogu in the 2-pack. He brings to the toy review yet another head sculpt. Like, it's a completely different face, completely different hair. You can see his ears, earlobes on this version. And the only thing he shares with these other two guys are the arms. The gi, the all-black gi, of course, is different. And the legs, all the way from the top down, he has different legs than these two guys. And I think he's the worst looking one out of them. I was going to like bonus review this, but I think that's enough right there. Alright, lastly, I want to get our Lukes next to the live action counterpart. And one for the Mando Luke. Alright, moving on. And in case you were wondering, I know I was, you can swap heads on these guys very easily. It's 90% the same body, and you can build your best version of Return of the Jedi Luke. Alright, it's time to close it out. I'm going to give you my final thoughts and declare a winner in my versus battle. We're going to start with packaging presentation. Of course, I'm old school, I'm retro, I'm 80s Transformers fan. I'm going to go with the retro style packaging with the Kenner slapped on it, with the photo from the 80s, the very, very vintage style packaging versus the windowless packaging of the Mandalorian version. So 1.4 Return of the Jedi Luke. Secondly, we are going to go to accessories. They both came with the exact same lightsaber, more or less. And the only true accessory Return of the Jedi Luke had was the interchangeable chest plate, which is a cool idea on its own, but it's not that much to get excited about. And on the other side, the Mandalorian Luke came with the cloak. And if I had to choose one, I would go with the cloak, especially soft goods. I love soft goods. And I give the Mandalorian the point for the accessories. And then if you want to add in the fact that he comes with the molded tunic, it's a separate little piece over the top. But that's an extra little bonus. I'll take that over the Return of the Jedi version. So we're at 1-1. Articulation. The articulation is much better without the little tunic that I actually prefer. I like that look. So it's a give and take there. So you get more articulation out of Return of the Jedi Luke. So he's up 2-1 now. And we want to go with likeness towards the material that these are supposed to be sourced from. I believe the Return of the Jedi Luke looks more like Mark Hamill, but the Mandalorian was meant to look more like the CG, so it pulls that off in that regard. So I'll give that a tie with Luke still winning, holding the edge, with the Mandalorian Luke a close second. And it's a good thing that these guys are different enough, so if you have bought them both or you plan to get them both, you have them both, you got two different Lukes. Not only facially, but as far as the look without the cloak, with the cloak on, with the tunic, and you can change the chest. So you get a few different options. If you have all three of the recent Return of the Jedi style Luke releases, from Boba Fett, Mandalorian to Return of the Jedi that came out 2023, you can swap around accessories and heads and create the ultimate Return of the Jedi Luke. And that's always a bonus. But that's all I have for you guys. I want to thank you all for watching another episode of George Reviews. The reviews where every toy has a story.